Hey everybody, welcome back to the Hilltop Pillbox, Abbotsford, British Columbia, Canada, and YouTube Wars, the coronavirus edition is up and running. And yeah, some very interesting things have happened. If you didn't catch the last video with the Japanese, we came down here, we took Yunnan, the Chinese took it back, and then they pulled all their forces back here into Shenxi. The Russians did a little bit of a juggle there, but they're ostensibly all in the Far East still. The Americans brought their fleet up here because, of course, the Japanese have most of their fleet down here. In Africa, the nasty British came in and took Italian Somaliland and suffered any casualties. And that's pretty much it for there. But then the British came across and they coagulated their fleet here in '92 and brought their fighters down from Britain. And they transported a couple guys using their bomber. Also a transport plane on that turn. So they're really bulking up Gibraltar. Meanwhile, the Americans built a carrier and a couple of planes and a destroyer, and only built a man out in western U.S. In Britain, you can see it's pretty empty here because they took their air force all down to Gibraltar. But the Germans sank the British ships in 110, and the cruiser came down here to kill the destroyer, and kill the sub. But a destroyer came down to 110 to kill the German sub that was left over, and the sub sank the destroyer. But I mean, the sub obviously got sunk as well. But that threw them into a pickle. So now their battleship and their cruiser are somewhat exposed here to the British. Or to the German fleet here. The Germans built a carrier and I think a sub up there. And Paris fell, as it is wont to do. And there you go. Little wrap up. Soviets backed up everybody. Germans took Bulgaria. They did the ping pong through Yugoslavia. And here we are. Here we are is where we are. So it's the Italians' turn. Italians have $10 and they are spending none of it, because I have a good feeling we're going to be out of money if we do. So we're going to push all these fellows forward here into Alexandria, and we are going to bring a everybody's coming down here pretty much. So that transport's bringing in a couple of fellas into there, and this transport lying on its side is going to come over here, and it's going to bring a man and a tank down into Transjordan. And the cruiser is going to join as well. And the destroyer is a non-con move. Over here we have the Italian sub going after the remnants of the French fleet. We're going to have a couple of fighters and a Strat bomber coming to help out there. And then we have the Italians taking their 2 men and a tank that way. And we'll probably bulk that up, I guess, with an artillery. So let me just swap that out here quickly. Oh, can't grab it. So much for quickly. All right, and just for that, you get an ugly artillery. All right, that's pretty much for Italy. Italy's pretty quick, so we're just gonna hammer on through here these battles. We'll get our handy dandy dice rolling tray and our dice going here. Alright, so we'll start here in Italian Somaliland, where we have 1 infantry and an infantry supported by the artillery. So they're going to fight and no hits. And the British shoot back and no hits. And the Italians shoot 1 hit. And the British shoot back. No hits. So the Italians shoot, no hits. And the British, no hit. And the Italians get a hit. This is the most boring war ever. And the British with their final shot, no hits. Okay, well that was pretty cool. So the Italians kill the Brits. Hey, thanks for dropping by and watching that fun battle, folks. That was great. Okay. Hope this other one doesn't take forever. Alright, so we've got a green die for the tank. We've got an artillery supporting the mech, and then we've got 3 infantry. So here's our tank, our mech supported with the artillery and our 3 infantry. Look at the 3 infantry! Boy, we could use that in the last round, guys. Alright, and then the British, nothing. Alright, so the British lose that there as well. And now, up here, we've got a sub at a 2, we got 2 fighters at 3, and a strat bomber at 4. So there's the sub at 2, 2 fighters at 3, and the strat bomber at 4. Gotta have 2 hits. Gotta have them. Got them. Alright. And coming back, we've got a destroyer and the cruiser. No hits. Boy, Italy is loving the dice today, boys and girls. I tell you, don't know how that... sorry, that battle's just cracking me up. Okay, so that's all the battling that's going on, and now we will do our non-coms. This destroyer is going to come down here, down to C-Zone 96 and park on Malta. That sub obviously is there. The fighters coming back. Southern Italy. Bomber coming back to Southern Italy. We are going to rail from there up to Southern France. We have 2 infantry railroading up and 1 AAA railroading up to Southern Italy. Get rid of that. Oh, shoot. We got to do Yugoslavia. Okay, here we go. Sorry, folks. Here we go. We've got 1 infantry unsupported. We've got 1 supported infantry and a tank going after the 2 Yugoslavs. Oh, only 1 hit. 2 Yugoslavs come back. No hits. Trust me, folks, there are actually hits on these dice. This is freaking me out. Okay, so we still got all the Italians attacking. There's the last one. And the final Yugoslav. Okay, I know somebody out there thinks I'm cheating here, but anyway. Change that. All right. So there goes Yugoslavia. And oh, I got to get my Italian roundels out. I got to get 3 out. Okay, so that one there. Oh, that one's I already got. And then, of course, Yugoslavia. All right. And I think that's it. So we'll do our wrap up and we'll do our money. Yeah, so everything's done here. Not as messy as Japan was, that's for sure. Okay. Here we go. We don't, the British one's gone. Get out of here. Alright. Get rid of that. No, this does not mean 6 infantry. That's just my battle marker there. I really like, if you haven't seen Hambone's videos, he's got these neat little arrows that help remind him about, especially non-coms, because, folks, if you've ever done a game on YouTube, you know what it's like. Because once it's filmed, once it's in the can, as they say, in the business, you're hooped, right? And if you forgot to move a guy, you got to really beg and plead with your enemy to see if he'll let you do it. So we're pretty nice to each other, though. If somebody says, "Oh, I forgot to do it," yeah, we're pretty nice. But I don't think anybody's going to give Italy any props after that turn. Okay, so here we go. We're gonna just go through the money here. So Italy took that back, but it was worth nothing. That doesn't mean anything. Italy took Alexandria, which is no money to them, but it does take an NO, as does Transjordan, which is worth 1. So Italy is going to go up 1, and Britain will go down 1. So Britain goes down 1, Italy goes up 1. And then we have Yugoslavia. Yugoslavia goes up 1, 2. There, Italy goes up 2 for Yugoslavia, I should say. And I think that's everything. I think everything is done. Yeah. I think everything is pretty much done there. Okay. So we have... yeah, I think it's everything. Anyway. So we'll go through our numbers here, and talk about the money board in just a second. So here we go. Italian Somaliland, 2 men, 1 artillery. In Transjordan, we have 3 men and 1 tank. Alexandria, we have 3 men, 1 artillery, 1 mech, 1 tank. In Libya, we have 1 man, 1 artillery. In Season 98, we have the battleship, 2 cruisers, and 2 transports. In 96, we have a destroyer. In 93, we have a sub. In southern Italy, we have a strategic bomber, 2 fighters, an infantry, and a AAA gun, and a German tactical. In Yugoslavia, we have an artillery, 2 infantry, and 1 armor. In northern Italy, we have 2 anti-aircraft guns, we have 2 infantry, we have 1 artillery, does say 2 AAA, and 1 German fighter. In southern France, we have 2 Italian infantry and 1 Italian AAA gun. In 93, we have a sub. I think I mentioned that already. All right, that is Italy. And what's going to happen now is Italy is up to 13, and Britain is down to 37. So I'm going to be changing the board. That's the board over there. So Italy will be up to 13. And Italy, also, let's check out on our bonuses, boys and girls. So we have Italy controls all of their original territories. Boom! Because we do, now that we took back Italian Somaliland, those stinky British. We don't have that. We don't have any of this other stuff. Or do we? No, we don't, because we didn't punch out. All right. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Yeah, we're looking to have some fun in Africa here, and now it looks like we might have a little bit of fun in Africa because we still got troops. All right. Well, that's pretty much the Italian turn. So we're going to have $18 from this turn plus the 10. I don't have fancy chips. So we'll have $28 for the Italians to spend next turn. 28. So I'll put that on the board, and yeah, I'm going to hand over the reins. I guess I didn't do much of an intro here, but I suspect you watched the last one. So we've got myself and Detroit are taking care of the Axis here. I am Japan. We are co-doing Italy. We had quite the chat this morning about Italy. It was pretty fun. And then we have the Germans by Detroit, and it's got some interesting things happen in the first round for sure. And on the bad guys' side, they call them the Allies, you know, just to make them sound nicer. We have Hambone and G.I. Joe. Now, G.I. Joe is playing the UK and the Soviet Union, and Hambone is everybody else, I believe. So America and China and Anzac. So that's it. Oh, and Canada. Canada is a separate power as well. They got $7 a turn. I think. I'm not sure who's taking care of that. I think Hambone might be actually, but we'll see. They do everything at the same time as UK, as I understand it, but maybe not. Yeah. So that's it. Italy is not doing any tech, of course. Just can't afford that kind of fun stuff. Maybe later. I don't know if we can survive here for a couple of turns. Maybe we'll have some coin and we can maybe think about doing tech. But right now, no go. So I'm going to hand the reins over to our exhumed colleagues, and we'll wish them the best as Anzac and France strut their stuff, and we'll see what happens by the end of the round, and we'll be on to round 2 shortly. Just on the bottom here, in case you're wondering, it's a victory point game. This is the Bloodbath Rules, so we're going to play 8 rounds. And at the end of the 8 rounds, Axis are to have 12 victory points. And if they have those 12 victory points, they win, 12 or more. But if the Allies can keep them from getting that, then the Allies win. So the Allies don't have any objectives on the map per se. They just have to stop the Axis. And I really love this rule set, this Bloodbath rule set, because it's 8 rounds. And so you can do the math and you could say, well, I'm going to build this on turn 1, and then by turn 3 it'll be doing this, and if it still survives by turn 5 I can do this with it. And then, you know, by turn 8 I can, you know, especially the Axis are pretty much up against it around turn 7 and 8. So they can kind of kamikaze or whatever, because, you know, you don't need it in turn 9, which is really handy. But, alright, before this gets too long, there you go. There's Italy. And, yeah, doing alright. That was a good first round by Italy. We'll talk to you later, folks.